Welcome, everyone. We are live this beautiful Friday morning. Oh, we are live. Today, we're talking. Some of us are trying to speak about the technique this morning. So let us begin. I think I dedicate Fridays to technique because we go into the weekend and we always want to remember who and what we are. Um, yes. So today, that's why it's called You Want It, You Got It. Right, itty bitty? What is the technique for bringing and creating something in your world? We must always know what it is that we want. Know what you wanted and know that you have it. How do you know that you have it? You have seen it in your mind's eye. That's where it is. Now, you've seen it in your mind's eye. And what do you do from there? Now that you've seen it in your mind's eye, something happens to you. What happens to you? There's a sensation in your body. And that sensation in your body will tell you lies or yes, I've got it. The sensation will tell you what you believe to be true about the thing you say you are creating. It is instantaneous. So, when you know what you want, feel that sensation of it. What is it telling you? If you say, oh, well, it's saying to me, I believe myself, then let's carry on. But what if it's saying to you, oh, please, get what you want? I've been trying for years and I'm still in the same position. Now, let's deal with that right here and right now. When you say to yourself, I want to experience a new job, a new career, a new whatever it is you want to experience in your world, and you hear, no, that's not possible. I don't have connections. I don't know anybody. That is just simply a habitual way of thinking that you've had for quite some time, where you come up with an idea and you knock it down before you even get it out of the park. That is a habitual way. You've done it that way for quite some time. That's what that is. So to move past that, from the lecture last night, what did we learn? We learn that we look forward. We forget the past and we look forward. This is a new day. This is a new moment. Oh, I want to sing it so bad. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. Right? So you say to yourself, wait a minute. If I say I can create this thing, I want to see that I can. I want to know that I can. I want to know that I can. Who are you saying that to? You're saying that to yourself. So let's do it. I want to know that I can do this. When you say I know that I can do this and I want to see it for myself, you now go into your imagination. Oh, but Angela, imagination is for children. We never relinquish our imaginations because we cannot relinquish our imagination. Child or adult is irrelevant. We all have it and we all use it, whether we use it for creating things that are good and pleasant in our lives or creating things that are, stressful in our lives. We use our imagination. How do we use our imagination? Well, do you remember a fond memory, something fun that happened to you that you enjoyed? The moment you sit there and you remember it, where do you think you are? In your imagination. The fact that you can recall, but not just recall, you understand? If I say to you, just like the woman in the lecture last night, she loved roses. She just absolutely loved roses, and she was like, ooh, roses are so delightful. And she sat there and she could smell them. In her mind's eye, she smelled the roses. And not only that, but she felt the petals in her hands. Now, wouldn't you know, the very next day, 3 dozen roses were sent to her room. Coincidence, you would say? No, it's not a coincidence. All she did was, oh boy, I do love roses. Oh, they're so my favorite flower. And she smelt them. She smelt them in her mind's eye. And she got them the following day. Oh, but Angela, that's simple. That's just roses. That could have happened anyhow. That doesn't pay my bills. Okay, fine. Let's pay your bills then, because we live in the world of Caesar. Remember the woman in the lecture? She said, well, I need this amount of money. You know, they could take up the taxes and everything else, but I need this amount of money. Then everything is left over. And she saw herself holding an envelope. She felt the envelope in her hands. She tore the envelope and she heard it tear. And then she jingled that envelope to turn it upside down, and the money came out. Right down to the last penny as to what she said she required. What did she do? What did she use? She saw, she heard, she touched. Oh, but get this part. Money has an odor. Oh! You ever smelt a dollar bill? You ever smelt paper money? It really does have a smell. It does. So she smelled. She used all of her senses. Right? So today, what is it that you require? Name it. If you don't name it, how do you know? You have to know what it is that you require. I didn't ask you if you think it was possible. I'm asking you, what is it that you want to experience in your life? It could be money, it could be an object, it could be, what is it that you want to experience? It could be better grades. It could be a more amicable workplace. What is it? Now that you have answered the question as to what it is you want to experience, answer this question. What would it be like if you had it? What would it be like if you had it? What would it feel like to you to have it? Who's the first person you would tell? Would you do a little dance and get down tonight? What would you do? Would you shriek? Would you scream? Would you cry? What is it that you would do because of your own personality? What would you do? Now, the moment, did you see it just now? Did you feel it just now? When you started to go through, ooh, what would I do? Well, I would do this. I would call this person. Do you notice how your body just responded to it? Do you notice? That is step 2. The very fact that you said, I want to experience this, and here is how I would experience it. And you see how it feels? It confirms. Neville Goddard says you create a small scene. Well, that's just what you did when I asked you a series of questions. What would it be like if you had it? What would your morning start like if you had this experience in your life? How would you eat your cereal? How would you make breakfast? How would you walk the dog? How would you brush your teeth? How would you brush your hair? What would you do? But most importantly, when you see what it is that you would do, how does it make you feel? Well, you get excited, don't you? Oh, there's a feeling, isn't it? Now that you have that feeling, sit with that feeling for a moment. sit with it for a moment. Because that's the feeling you would have, is it not? Now, here's the thing. Here is why, if you want it, you've got it. Right? The moment you accept those feelings in your body, then you ask yourself, oh, what would it be like? I do this. Oh, yes, I tell this person. One of those things, one of those scenarios is going to stand out for you because of your personality and whichever sense of yours is the strongest. Right? One of those is going to stand out for you most vividly. Then that's the one you go with because that's the one that's most natural for you. So the moment you do that, your body responds. It does. Neurologically, it responds. How can I say that for sure? Well, if you were chased by a dog, like I was at a tender age, a pit bull wanted to have me for dinner. You think every time I hear, you think when I hear that something doesn't happen to me chemically? Oh, yes, it does. I'm not being chased anymore, but just the mere thought or hearing that dog bark does something to me. So you see how potent these memories are that we have? That if you think about it, your body responds because it does. That's the law of correspondence. As within your awareness, well, as without by way of your body. That's what happens. A person doesn't wet themselves because, you see it? Something happened in the mind. And the body responded. And you can always tell how the body responds by observation. So when you ask, what would it be like if I had it? What would it be like if I was a more confident man or a woman? What would I be like if I was affluent and wealthy? What would my attitude be? When you start to answer that question and you could see it in your mind's eye, your body will respond to the stimulus. And when your body responds to the stimulus, and it's beautiful, because that's how you know if it confirms, yes? When you know that, now your body is saying, well, this is happening to me right now. If it wasn't happening now, the body would not register the information. The body only knows now. Because where are you? You're not yesterday, are you? You're not tomorrow. The body is where? Now. That's where it is. So that feeling is happening now. So your body says, we're having this now. We're doing it right now. So the more often you call up that sensation by answering the question, what would it be like if I had it? And you allow your body to respond the same way every time, you begin to change your whole biology. You're changing from the inside out. So now when that thing becomes your habitual way, anytime you think of this thing and feel it, that's your habit. You go to it first. That's your habit. You do it the same way every time. So when you do that every time and it becomes your second nature, it becomes your habit, then you must also now experience it in the flesh, that you can touch it and interact with it, put it away, open it, lock it, put it on, eat it. Why? Because you've done it inside your imagination. And you didn't just do it one time. This is why it requires persistence. So it becomes a habit. Once it becomes a habit, now that state that you're in, because every time you call up the sensation by thinking of that, what would it be like? Every time you answer and say it would be like this, well, that's happening to you now. And the more you do it, 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 it has to occur for you in the physical realm. Why? because of the law of correspondence. As within, whatever thing you are aware of being is what you will become. That is how you do it. Day in and day out. How do you think what's happening in your life is happening to you right now? Because it's random? No. Because you have a particular state of mind that you go to all of the time. And from that state of mind, you experience things in your reality that you can touch and interact with, taste, smell. That's what you're doing. And it looks like, well, that's just happening naturally. That's just the way it is. No, it's not just the way it is. It's the way you created it to be by doing it the same way every time. The habit. So if your first thing to do is to complain, do you notice that you always have something to complain about? Because that's where you are mentally. That's where you are mentally. So until you, as Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it, break the habit of being you, how will you change the outside world? You have to change the outside world by first changing the thing that put it there, which is your mental state, the way you think about yourself and the situation at hand. That's how we do it, day in. This is a beautiful question. Let's deal with this one. How to experience the feeling of pregnancy if you've never been? And the results of IVF shows the total opposite. I'm not emotionally thinking any bad, but still couldn't experience the feeling. Okay, let's answer that question for you. What would it feel like if you were? You say you can't feel that. You can't feel it. But if you ask yourself that question, if people can't see that you're pregnant, right? They can't see it, but you know, there's a feeling of what? I've got a secret. Is it there? There's a feeling of, I know something, but I can't tell you yet. I know something, but I can't tell you yet. There's an anticipation. You can feel the feeling of anticipation. You can feel the feeling of OMG. This can't be true. Right? We can feel the feeling and the sensation of anticipation based upon the fact there are many women we pass and they're pregnant and we don't know. But they do. Shoot, sometimes they don't even know. Right? But it doesn't mean that they are. They're the ones who know of a secret that we don't know of. That's how you cultivate it. You have something to tell, but you can't just say it right this instant. There's an anticipation. There is an excitement. Right? Does that make a little bit more sense? Now, if you practice going into that sensation of anticipation, of excitement, that's one way, because for some that may be easier, right? The reason why I didn't send you to what some would say would be the end, it depends on how the end makes you feel. If I say to you, imagine yourself with bags under your eyes and you haven't bathed in a couple of days because you have this small baby in the house. But amidst all your fatigue, you are in love with this little tiny person. You look at their eyes, they look at you, and you're like, oh, you smell, but you're beautiful. Because that's what they do. They're the sweetest things ever. Now it depends on how that image makes you feel. If that image makes you feel like, That's not possible. I just can't get there. Well, then go to where you can get to, which is, I got a secret. I have a secret. And what do you do with that secret? You guard it. Sometimes the eyes may want to give away the secret. Right? Go to what part of it feels natural to you. Does this make a little bit more sense? Because sometimes, because I know you mentioned IVF, sometimes the quote unquote unsuccessful attempts, they make you feel a particular way, so that if you walk by the store and you see a baby, or you long for that. Oh, when? You see, we may not be thinking bad. It's not about bad. It's about how that thing makes you feel. If you walk by the baby that is so cute and the baby makes you smile, but inside you feel a sense of loss, of not having accomplished, you're not thinking bad. You're feeling a sense of loss. So if you're feeling a sense of loss, that feeling of loss is profound. So then you continue to experience the sense of loss because it is so potent. So we've all had secrets. Having a secret is a lighter burden to carry. It's not attached with anything per se that can be bringing on a sense of loss. But the secret brings on a sense of anticipation, a sense of, oh, something good is going to happen. Something good is in store, right? That's what it does to you. See if you can practice cultivating a feeling of a secret. See if you can do that. And the more you generate how that secret makes you feel, do not attach it to a disappointing experience, though. Do you see what I'm saying to you? You want to keep it as its own thing. Because remember what Neville says, right? You could want something, but the feeling that you have about the thing that you want is what will win. Why? Because that's the way the body is. The body is telling you what you hold to be true. It doesn't tell you what you want. It tells you what you know to be true. It's the proof your body tells you. So what does your body tell you about holding a secret? Now, let's take that a step further. What if you're not telling the secret just yet, but you're leading up to it? What would it be like if you shared that secret at an appointed time? How would that person respond? Who's the first person you would tell? Now you see how you're building on the secret and creating a sense of anticipation, a sense of excitement, a thrill. Let me know if you need more elaboration. But that is where I would start. Remove the pressure and just go with because that's exactly what would happen naturally. I'm sitting here and I'm telling you that's what would happen naturally. As if I know you, I'm telling you. I'm telling you that's what would happen. How do I know? Because we do love a good story, don't we? We do love to say, girl, you will never guess what happened. Oh, you better be sitting down for this one. You will never believe it. That's what we love to say. So begin by practicing that. That is my suggestion to you, because it is lighter It is lighter. And there's no, what is it? Heavy outcome. It removes a sense of failure. It removes a sense of desperation. It removes all of those things just to fully embrace the fact that you have a secret. You see, it's all about recognizing, you know? And that's why I like what you said in your sentence. You're not thinking anything bad. It's not about bad. This goes for everybody now. It's not about bad. It's about, what does your body say that you believe about the thing you're thinking of? If you are going somewhere and you know a particular somebody's going to be there, and you just don't get along, your body says, oh God, I hope they're not there. I can't stand this heifer. I hope they're just not there. That's what your body says to you. And you have this sense of dread. Man, I don't want to go. And you get there, and who's the first person you see? Them. Oh, look, you again. See? It's not bad or good. It's just, what do you believe about that person you're thinking about? If you just can't wait to get around a particular person, your body's like, ooh, I can't wait to see you. Who's the first person you see when you get there? That's the point, right? It is a most beautiful thing, right? So remember the sequence. You know what it is that you want. And then you begin to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality if you had it. And the feeling will come along with that. It just will. There's a thrill, right? And there's like, yes, I did it. Or like a hallelujah. There's that. And when you get that feeling, return to that feeling often, especially before bed and upon waking up. But when you go through the day, at any point in the day, and you think about the thing, revel in the feeling of it. Revel in the feeling of it. Because the more you revel in the feeling of it, your body says, yes, this is happening now. And when the body says, yes, this is happening now, it takes you from continually waiting. You wouldn't wait for something that you already had. You wouldn't wait for something that you already had. That's the point. The body says it's happening now. Well, this is now. You already have it. Because your body says we have it now by way of the way it feels. It's happening now. Remember the example. If you were that, I think it was a man. I think it was a man who was chased by the cougar. He went hiking. Listen, you probably can't even say the word cougar next to him anymore. Not for a little bit, at least. Why? Because every time you say it, his body will just release that adrenaline, that fight or flight again. Is he being chased by the cougar? No. But his body thinks it is. How do you know his body thinks that it is? He may begin to shake. He may begin to sweat. A full-on panic. But there is no cougar on the outside. It is the thought of the cougar that's telling his body this is happening now. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And it's not even subtle. It's just that it happens so naturally, we take it for granted. People who deal with anxiety, they feel it when it's creeping up on them. They'll tell you, yeah, I've got a really bad case of anxiety. And they go out the door and things fall apart. But where is it happening? Nothing has happened to them again. It is the recall of the memory. And the body says, yes, it's happening now. So you see, it happens so naturally. We say, well, that's just the way it is. Of course, that's just the way it is. You want it to not be? That's the natural progression of things from within to the outside. And it happens with ease. You don't have to force it. You don't have to fake it. You just have to, what is it that you believe? And your body will show you. Because it will. Naturally, that's what it does. That's why you do the thing when Neville says it takes on the tones of reality. It feels natural. It is nothing forced or contrived. It's just like you're driving home and you really gotta go number one. You gotta go to the potty, but there's nowhere to stop. So what do you tell yourself? You say, wait. What does the body do? It will wait for you until you get to that destination so you can go. Of course, unless it's explosive diarrhea, well, then there's no waiting in between. It's just going to happen and we're going to have a mess on our hands, but I digress. So, you see how the body always responds? Don't take it for granted anymore. When you feel the body respond, you say, oh, you're talking to me, you're telling me something. Pay attention to it. Because it will show you what it is you have inside your mind that you are aware of being. If I say to you, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And you're like, please. And you don't believe that about yourself. You begin to come up with all the, well, no, I'm not. Well, look at this, look at that. See, I told you I wasn't. You begin to come up with all the excuses why you're not. Why? Because you've habitually done it. So that's your first mode of response. Does it not come naturally? Because you trained it. Right? Don't take for granted how your body responds. It responds to what you tell it. And what you tell it incessantly, that's what it thinks you are now. So when you look at the experiences you're having in your life and you say things like, well, why does this always happen to me? Why can I not change this thing? Because the habit is so ingrained. That's why. So you now get to choose a new way to be. What would it be like if you were that new person? If you thought differently, what would that be like? And you have to go back to that thought over and over, and the way it makes you feel over and over again. Why? Because the old way has been so ingrained. You now have to be diligent and persistent to behave in the new way so that the new way becomes what the old way was, second nature. Does that make sense? Yes, a ray of sunshine. Emotionally, it helps to reveal the feeling and to place you in a more favorable state physically and mentally. Yes. So the next time you hear the phrase, think positively, it's not that you're thinking positively or negatively. What are you thinking? And how does the body respond to what you are thinking? Does the body confirm that you are the man or the woman you want to be, or does it contradict? You see, when we start hearing things like think positively, don't think negative thoughts. make it more realistic, because sometimes positive and negative can be a little bit gray. But if you say it either confirms how you want to be or not, right? Or it contradicts. Does it confirm who you say you want to be? Or does it contradict? Does it say, no, you're not? Well, that would be a contradiction, wouldn't it? So pay attention. Oh, but that's so much work. But that's where the salvation is. If you don't recognize what's happening, when people say, oh, I always get the opposite of what I want. What? You can't get the opposite. That would be a breach of law, and we can't break law. As within, so without. You must reap what you've sown. So you're not getting the opposite. It's just that you haven't recognized how you actually feel about the thing you want. So pay attention to what your body has to say. It tells us much. So let's do it now. What is it? And I want you to think about it. I will leave space in here for you to think about it. What is it that you want to experience in your life? What is it that you want to experience in your life? Take a moment to think about that. Take your time to think about it. Health, wealth, abundance, security, confidence. What is it that you want? Career, automobile, house. Good. You know what you want. Good. Hold that now. What would it be like if you had it? What would it be like if you had it? What would it be like if you had it? What would your day look like? Who would you tell? How would your breakfast taste if you didn't have to worry? Would you have an appetite if you didn't have to worry? Oh. What would that be like for you? You see how it makes you feel to know what it would be like? It would be freeing, wouldn't it? There'd be a sense of accomplishment. There'd be a little dance, wouldn't there? What does your personality tell you you would do? Are you dramatic? Begin to see it. All the best case scenarios. Ooh, I'd go here. I'd go there. I'd say hello like this. Oh, and I just know my neighbor would be looking at me all funny because I know she don't like me. Yes. And I would just walk a little bit slower just so she could see how good I looked. And the fact that I don't have to walk with a limp anymore. Right? What's your personality? What would it be like? What would you do? Now, one of those things will stand out to you the most. Does that sensation in your body confirm? Good. It confirms. Now, what are you going to do from there? You're going to bring up that sensation, because we can't help ourselves. We think about what it is all the time, but don't think about wanting it anymore. You have the feeling that tells you that you have it. So now, when you are thinking about it, and your body says, yes, this is happening right now. You see, you have it. So you repeat that sensation when you go to bed. You know, when you're falling asleep. That's the first thing you do when you wake up. And if you're walking down the street and you think about it and it puts a smile on your face, right? Go with that. Because the longer you tarry in that confirmed state, the state of the wish fulfilled, meaning you've got it, the longer you stay there. Oh, that hymn has to be old enough. It doesn't have a copyright. The longer I serve him, the sweeter he grows, right? So the longer you stay in the presence of the thing that it is, the sweeter it gets. Because you've already got it. And the longer you stay there, the more frequently you stay there, the sweeter it gets. And you say yes. And then what happens? What comes out of you naturally? Thank you. Comes out of you naturally. You don't have to force gratitude, because you only say thank you for things that you have received. So the longer you stay in that state of having received it, when you feel that thank you emerge naturally and just comes out of you, you see, because now you're not waiting anymore. You are satisfied. You're not satisfied, oh, look, it's imaginary. That's not it. You are satisfied because you're not just thinking about it. Your body says to you, yes, this is now. So if you don't feel that feeling of now, go back. What would it be like if you had it? What would it smell like? Remember last night? What would it taste like? What would it feel like? Go back to that and ask yourself that question. What would it feel like? And when your body confirms it, and you confirm it, and you confirm it, and you confirm it, then naturally you will say thank you. And then before you know it, because you're not checking your watch, are you? You're not asking, are we there yet? Because you are there. There's nowhere to get to. Once you feel it in your body, you are there. So you don't have to get somewhere. You are there. And the longer you stay in that state of mind, the law tells us every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. So you have already got the effect down. You are already experiencing the effect. So the natural thing to do now would be to bring about the cause. And you don't bring about the cause. You just stay with the effect, and the cause must emerge. The cause comes because it is called by the effect. Every effect has its cause. And every cause has its effect. So you don't have to fret about how is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? You stay with the effect. And its lover, the cause, will always be there for it. Always. So you feel that? That sense of, or Neville calls it a thrill of excitement. That part. Look at what you are capable of doing. You are capable of creating a beautiful experience, not just for you, but for somebody else if you so desire. But here's something. You know that scripture that says God helps those who help themselves? When you're helping somebody else, you're helping yourself. Oh. Now, who is God? Oh, wait, where is he? I am. You say it all the time. We say it all the time. So God helps those who helps themselves. Who's themselves? Everybody is you. Because there's only one consciousness, only one awareness. So when you see the best for your brother, your sister, your preacher, your teacher, when you see the best for them, listen, you are seeing the best. If you see the best, you experience the best. Your body doesn't care who you seeing it for, because all it knows is that you're seeing the best. So when you see the best, you experience the best. That's why you're helping yourself when you see the best for somebody else. Anyhow, let's take a moment, shall we? We're going to welcome everybody into the space, and then we'll get the bowl so you can sit there and revel in it, bask in it. Hey, Driving Tea. It's good to see you here. Lovely, lovely to see you today, darling, on Twitter. YouTube and Facebook, who's here? Ray of Sunshine. Sun. Hello, Jeff, darling. Sonia. Cynthia. And Olivia. Listen, a little bit is quiet, but if I call his name too much, he gonna holler again. And Anot, I see you all here today. Thank you for being here on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Fan base, who's in the house? Let me see the chat first. Yes, Happy. The state of the wish fulfilled. Supreme, I see you. Well, yeah, that's the real work. Marquise. Hey, Lala, I see you. And Miss Crenshaw. Those are in the chat that I've seen, but everybody. Oh, Monique is here. Miss Deborah. Happy. She's in the house. Miss Crenshaw. Joaquin. Miss Boricua. Flo Smiles. Supreme King. KZ. Marquise. And Shea Butter. I don't. If I've missed anything in the chat, you let me know. But because sometimes I don't always see the chat, it doesn't always populate for me on Fanbase. But I trust that it makes sense to you today to get in there and do it. You see, because we think we have to do it on the outside. It's not on the outside, it's on the inside. It is the inside that compels you to act on the outside. It is the inside that compels you to act on the outside. So if you go out there and just try and force something to happen, who knows? As within, so without. Cultivate the inner environment, which is the mental state. You just pop in it by asking, what would it be like? And when you get into the mental state, you have to act according to that state, because that is how the state unfolds. So if you say, well, I'm going to be in a state of bliss. Well, listen, it doesn't matter where you go, you will experience blissful things. But if you are in a state of, I'm cranky and persnickety, how will you experience bliss? Correspondence. A state of bliss can only experience blissful things. As within, so without. Let me get the bowl. And as you hear the bowl, Remember the thing that you say you are wanting to experience in your life. Remember that. Now, as you hear the bowl, what would it be like? What would that experience be like for you? Begin to go through the scenarios, and scenarios make you feel. Bask in that beautiful feeling. Because if you had what you wanted in your life, you would feel a sense of excitement, a sense of relief. You would feel all those things. So begin to revel that you feel. And if your mind wanders, bring it back to that. What would it be like if I were the man or the woman I wanted to be? And allow yourself to just be in that space of it. Take your time. Welcome, Key. I see you. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Key and Driving to You, for being here on Twitter. You know I look forward to seeing you again. Tonight we are, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the name of the lecture is Anything You Want. That's the name of the lecture, because I can't sing any more than that, Sony. So I will see you tonight, 10:45 p.m. right here. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, fan base. Much love, Twitter. Twitter is closed. YouTube and Facebook, thank you so very much for being here as well. I will see you tonight. Yes? Much love.